Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can make mouth animations for your LEGO stop motion videos, just like how I made them for the 313. Mouth animations can add a lot of depth to your animation, and while it might take a while to do, it's really not that hard. You'll just see that it takes some patience. To make the mouth animations, you're first going to need HitFilm Express, which is a free editing / VFX compositor. Number 2, a vector graphics software like Adobe Illustrator, or if you don't have that, a free software like Inkscape will work great. Links to these will be in the description for you to download. Alright, so let's get into making the mouth animation. First off, you'll need to open up Illustrator or Inkscape and actually start drawing the mouths for each sound. You can make however many mouth shapes you want, but for basic talking, you only need the main shapes like A, E, A with closed teeth works for sounds like C, K, S, G, N, R, D, and T, a V and F shape, an L and th shape, an M and B shape, and finally an O shape. You can design these mouths and then export them as PNGs. You can look up Inkscape tutorials if you're not familiar with how to make these. Now we can move on to the actual animation. So inside HitFilm, we can take our audio file and make a composite shot out of it. This will create a composite shot of just the audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this show waveform. This will allow me to see the waveform of the audio. Now to make the animation, all you have to do is import your mouth shapes into HitFilm. You can put them into a folder for easy access. And then all you have to do is start dragging and dropping them in according to the audio sound. So it's an O, so it's around like a W shape for the first letter. We. Now you can delete that and you just slowly, now you drag in the E because he's saying we. Now he's saying H, and that's the same. The E could work for an H as well. Now back to an O, so slice that layer. Now delete that layer, and then drag in the O. O. I'll add in a plain layer in the back, any color. We. Ho. Now he's saying P. Drag in your P shape. Hope. And he's saying hope to. Now you're dragging your T shape. And you just keep doing this for the rest of your audio.
We hoped you would.
Once you've completed this, you can watch it over and decide if you want to make any changes and if you're happy with the results.
We hoped you would both still be alive.
So I'm pretty happy with those results. So now I can start adding this to the actual video. To do this, all you need to do is go back to your media file, make a composite shot of your video file, and then you got to find your composite shot that you just worked in. This one, I found it here. You drag it on top of your video file in the composite. There, now you have it on top, and then go back and then delete the plane you had in the background if you used it. So now it'll be transparent in the background. Now what you do is you have to rescale the mouth to fit the face of your character. To do that, I'm going to go into the control panel, transform, bring down the scale. So once you find a good shape and you play it back, you'll notice that it's working.
We hoped you would both still be alive.
But two problems. It's not following the character as he moves, and there's still the old mouth in the background. So first off, we're going to need to make it follow. So what we're going to do is we're going to track the old mouth. So just go in and turn off the new mouth just so you can see everything better. Click on your video layer. Go to controls, click plus beside the track. Now you're going to change single point to double point, and you're going to zoom in, take these 2 points, and put them on the two sides of your mouth. Now we're going to track his old mouth so that the new mouth can follow along. Make sure you're accurate as possible on 2 points that can be easily tracked by the computer. I'm going to do the inside of his mouth here. Now all you gotta do, click the track forward button, which looks like the play button here. HitFilm will do its best to track forward the motion of the character. Sometimes you may have to go in and manually adjust it yourself if there's big movements, but for this one I didn't have to do that. Now what you can do is click new layer, point layer, and go back to your track, click on your video, go to controls, double click on tracker. Now click on this rotation, change the layer to your new point layer. Now what you're doing is you're applying this motion that you just tracked to this new point layer. So click apply. Now this new point layer, if you go back to the viewer tab, is following my character's mouth. We're going to be parenting our new mouth to this point layer so that it follows along with it. Underneath the parent, click when it says none, click on that and select new point, or whatever, you can rename it if you want to. Now, as you can see, his new mouth will follow along with the old one.
We hoped you would both still be alive.
So that looks pretty good, except the old mouth is still there. Now this is where it gets tricky. Now we have to remove that old mouth. And to do this, we're going to be using an effect called the clone stamp tool in HitFilm. Search up in your effects, clone stamp. Now you're going to drag that on top of your video layer. Clone stamp. Now go to your controls tab, and there it is. Now you're going to do is you're going to click new layer, plane, make it black, and you can name it clone stamp. Turn the visibility off, and you're going to reshape it by clicking the corners of it. I'm going to zoom in. You're going to reshape it to a point or to an area of the mouth, around the mouth, that's his skin color, that we're going to be copying on top of the mouth to erase it. And then what you're going to need to do is also parent the position of it to that new point so that it follows along with the head as well. So now what basically you're doing is anything in this area, in the area selected by the border of your plane, we're going to be copying that and moving it on top of the old mouth to cover it up basically. So go to your clone stamp effect, open it up, clone mask, select your clone stamp layer, your source, also select your clone stamp layer, and target, make sure you do this, select it to your new point so that it also follows along. Now under mask blur, you're going to take this 40 number and you're going to drag it all the way down to 0. Now if you look over here, you can see what's being copied. So select on your clone stamp tool, zoom out until you find the 2 points that control the position. And I'm going to drag it so that it gets close to this point, and now I can move this around. So now we're going to be covering the old mouth up. I'm going to change the feather or the blur to around 5. And I'm just going to be copying and pasting this effect over and over to eventually cover up the mouth. You may need to add a new layer, a new plane, on a different area of the mouth, say underneath, if the shadows are different. But for my case, I should be fine with just the one. Now what you're going to do is I'm just going to keep copying and pasting this effect, and then dragging it along, cover it up. Now as you can see, we didn't do that great of a job, but it did cover it up. What I can do to make it a bit better is I can go underneath the ones on the sides and I can maybe increase the blur to about maybe 15, just so it smooths it out a bit more, so it's not so sharp on the edges. Now it blends in a bit more, and there our mouth is completely gone now, and from a distance you can barely notice it. So now if we go back and we're going to scale to fit and we play this,
We hoped you would both still be alive.
we're done. That is how you make mouth animations. His old mouth is gone and his new mouth is on there. We can make more adjustments to this with the color. As you can see, it kind of doesn't look very real. His mouth is very bright. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a brightness and contrast effect. So search up on your tab bar, drag it in. I'm going to bring down the brightness a bit so it blends in a bit more. That's probably good. But everywhere else is kind of orange in my case, right, because of the lighting. So I'm going to add a curves effect to play with the color. So you're going to drag it, make sure to put it below the brightness and contrast effect. And I'm going to change this to red. And there we have it. I found a nice orange color and it blends in pretty nice. Another level of detail you can add in is you can add in a lens blur. This will make the mouth less sharp because it's obviously not perfectly in focus. I'm going to change the radius until it's something that looks similar to the eyes. Scale to fit, and there you have it. There's your mouth animation.
We hoped you would both still be alive.
And there you go. That is how you can add mouth animations to your own stop motion videos. It might take a lot of time and some effort, but in the end, the result is definitely worth it. Thanks for watching.